Have you ever felt overwhelmed by a big goal? A dream so large that the first step feels impossible to take? We often believe that massive success requires massive, immediate action. We search for the grand plan, the perfect strategy, waiting for the right moment to unleash a wave of effort. But what if the secret to building a massive life isn't found in a giant leap, but in a single, small step taken every single day? This is a story about the quiet, almost invisible power of 1%. In a valley cradled by gentle hills, two brothers, Alistair and Finian, inherited a legacy from their father. It was not a grand fortune, but something of far greater potential. Two identical, barren plots of land, side by side. The soil was fertile, but untamed, filled with rocks and stubborn weeds. Both brothers shared the same dream: to transform their inheritance into a lush, thriving garden that would sustain them for a lifetime. But their approaches to this dream were as different as dawn is from dusk. Alistair, the elder brother, was a man of grand visions. He saw the finished garden in his mind's eye, a masterpiece of design, with perfectly arranged flower beds, intricate stone pathways, and a complex irrigation system. He believed such a perfect outcome required a perfect plan. He spent his first week in the library, studying books on agriculture and landscape design. He spent the next week drafting detailed blueprints, calculating sun exposure, and making lists of the finest seeds. To his neighbors, he spoke with great passion about the magnificent garden he was going to create. He was waiting for everything to be perfectly aligned before he would break the first ground. Finian, the younger brother, was a man of simple action. He too saw the potential for a beautiful garden. But the scale of the task did not paralyze him. It humbled him. On the very first morning, while Alistair was reading, Finian walked out to his plot of land with a single sturdy bucket. He didn't have a grand plan. His only goal for the day was to clear a patch of earth no bigger than a small rug. He spent hours pulling weeds and removing stones, and by the end of the day, his back ached. But he had a tiny circle of clear, rich soil. In the center of it, he planted a single seed. It was just 1% of his land, a seemingly insignificant effort. The next day, Alistair was comparing prices for stonework, dreaming of the elegant paths he would one day build. Finian was back on his land. He cleared another small patch right next to the first and planted another seed. Day after day, the pattern continued. Alistair was lost in the vastness of his future success, planning and preparing for a massive effort he was never quite ready to begin. Finian was focused only on the small, manageable task in front of him: clear a little soil, remove a few rocks, plant a new seed. His progress was so slow that from a distance, it looked like nothing was happening at all. Some villagers would pass by Alistair's plot and hear of his brilliant designs, nodding in admiration. They would then look over at Finian's small growing patch and whisper that he lacked his brother's ambition. A month passed. Alistair had a perfect laminated blueprint, but his field remained untouched, a testament to a dream deferred. On Finian's land, a small but vibrant patch of green had appeared. His first seeds had sprouted. The sight of this new life filled him with a quiet energy. Now his daily task was not just to clear and plant, but also to water his growing sprouts. His 1% effort was beginning to compound. He had built momentum. Another month went by. Alistair grew frustrated, believing he needed better tools, a different season, a more innovative plan. The conditions were never quite right. Meanwhile, Finian's green patch had grown into a thriving section of young, healthy plants. He had built a small stone border with the rocks he had cleared, and his daily work now included tending to his flourishing garden. By the end of the season, the difference was breathtaking. Alistair's plot of land was exactly as he had received it: barren, weedy, and full of untouched potential. His perfect blueprint was tucked away in a drawer, a forgotten dream. But Finian's land was unrecognizable. It was a lush and vibrant tapestry of life. Rows of vegetables grew in neat lines, bordered by the very stones he had once seen as obstacles. Flowers bloomed in the corners, attracting bees and butterflies. It was not the perfectly symmetrical masterpiece Alistair had designed, but it was real, it was productive, and it was beautiful. It was a garden built not by a grand design, but by 1,000 small, consistent, and unspectacular efforts. Alistair stood at the edge of his brother's land, stunned by the transformation. "How did you do all this?" he asked, his voice filled with disbelief. Finian wiped his sweat from his brow and smiled, a gentle, knowing smile. "You were waiting to make a giant leap. I just focused on taking a single step every single day. You saw the whole mountain and were paralyzed by its size. I just focused on the single stone in front of me and moved it. And then I moved the next one." And so, the two brothers learned a profound truth. We often overestimate the importance of one grand action and underestimate the value of small, consistent improvements. The secret to building a massive life is not in the one-time sprint, but in the daily walk. The 1% rule is a quiet promise you make to yourself that today you will be just a little bit better than you were yesterday. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need to start their own 1% journey. For more stories that inspire, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, The Storium. Thank you for being with us today. Until our next story, may you find the courage to plant your single seed.